Hello, my name is Mike Bankhead. Today is Friday, March 4th. I have a brand new single called Hold the Wick available right now on my website, MikeBankheadmusic.com. It is available right now on my Bandcamp page, mikebankhead.bandcamp.com. Today is Bandcamp Friday, when the folks at Bandcamp waive all their fees that they normally collect from artists. So if you buy my single there, I get all the funds. Why is that the topic today on? Well, the idea behind this single, Hold the Wick, I wanted it to feel like a CD single from the 90s. You would buy a CD, and instead of only the single, there would be a whole bunch of other songs included. That's what I've done here, except for instead of it being on compact disc, it's a digital single. There's a main mix of Hold the Wick, and there are 7 additional mixes of Hold the Wick. Each one is by a different person and in a different genre. Completely different feel for all of those mixes. Over the last few weeks that I've done this podcast, I've interviewed some of the people who have done these remixes and played them for you. They are all available right now, like I mentioned in the intro, both on my website and on my Bandcamp page. But this episode, I'm interviewing another one of the talented folks that did a remix of Hold the Wick. His name is Rizo. And, well, I'll let you listen to our conversation so that you get to know him. Let's go. Hello, Rizo.
Hey, Mike.
How you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah. I was just looking at my levels over there. I think
your levels are good.
All right.
Hey, so Rizo, tell the people where we are.
We are currently in Columbus, Ohio, to be more specific, the suburb of Reynoldsburg, Ohio, at the Dreamcatchers Recording Studio.
Which is on Main Street.
Yes, specifically 7384 East Main Street, Suite B.
Everybody write that down. So, the Dreamcatchers Recording Studio, and this is your place of employment. What exactly do you do here?
So I am one of the owners of the studio. There's 2 of us, me and my good long-time friend David. So I own this place, but in addition to owning it, I also I'm an engineer here. So I engineer, I record people, I mix music, I master music, but I also produce as well. So I create records and play instruments and do podcasts and all that kind of fun stuff too.
That's a good description, and I like how you explained it, because a lot of people who listen to this are musicians, but there are also people that listen that are not musicians, and they might like a more detailed glance at what exactly it is you do. So describe that stuff over there, because people can't see it. Not the chairs, but the stuff beyond the chairs. The tools of your trade.
The desk full of my studio equipment. You said describe it? Just kind of what's happening over there?
General, what's all that stuff and what does it do?
Yeah, so kind of my general approach to kind of building the studio and just kind of how I wanted everything to work together is kind of to get what I need and kind of cut out all the rest. So in general, I have a great setup for recording drums, recording vocals, recording guitars, recording all the music that I make with computers as well. So just plugging things straight into the system, guitars, basses, anything like that. Horns, the podcast that we're doing now. It's a pretty simple setup if you're familiar with audio equipment. Even if you're not familiar with audio equipment, I could probably break it down to you in a couple minutes, but I don't want to get super technical. But
high level.
Huh?
High level overview.
Yeah. So, it's, we just have a audio interface, a couple of preamps to get some really clean sound, a headphone amplifier, a really nice computer that usually is very reliable. We had an episode last week, which is tried to make a liar out of me, but got that all sorted out. A couple, keyboards and some nice speakers, and just the basics, that we need to make good music.
So you mentioned that you play instruments. Tell me what instruments you play. Actually, I know, so you're not telling me. Tell these people who are listening what instruments you play.
Yeah, so originally I started out, my first instrument I picked up was the guitar. Funny, well, not that funny, but interesting story. I literally was bored one day. I want to say it was maybe summer of third or fourth, fifth grade, something like that. After the summer, and I had finished summer camp for the summer and done all my video games, and I think my friends were out of town, and so I didn't have anybody to go outside with and all that kind of stuff. And my dad had this old guitar that he never played. He had it for 20 years and it just sat in the same closet collecting dust. And I was like, let me pick up this thing and see if I could entertain myself with it. And I was thoroughly entertained. So I kept going with it and started to actually try to learn some songs, and just by listening to them on the on the radio, I just try to pluck out the melody or whatever, the bass line or something like that, just simple stuff. But anyways, so guitar, and then after guitar, started learning bass. It's kind of a natural progression from there. And then once I learned the bass, I started to play drums because I was attending a church and I wanted to be a musician there. And at the time, they didn't have a drummer. I wanted to play guitar, but the drums in the church setting are much more important than the guitar. So I kind of stepped up and started playing the drums there. And for me, the rhythm of the drums was kind of already in me. And so it was kind of, it was a little bit easier to get onto the drums and just get into the pocket. To this day, I'm not like any kind of superior drummer. And I wouldn't, you wouldn't hire me for a gig, that kind of stuff. But I can hold down a pocket, I can record drums and, do that kind of stuff. So guitar, bass, drums, and then I know music theory, so I can figure my way around a piano, but kind of same situation. You wouldn't hire me to play at your gig. But, I've played on, a bunch of records and sequenced some stuff and things like that. So guitar, bass, drums, and piano. Those are my tools of my trade.
And Reynoldsburg is home for you. You grew up here.
I grew up actually down the street from here. Yeah. So I was actually born in Toledo. Not in Toledo. I was born in Patterson, New Jersey. But I moved from there before I can remember anything about it. Lived in Toledo, Ohio, for a couple of years before we finally landed in Columbus, in Reynoldsburg. And I've been here since I started first grade. So, my earliest memories are of Reynoldsburg, Ohio. So my parents still live in that house, which is not too far away from here. And, yeah. So
well, that's convenient if you miss your mom's cooking, I guess.
Yeah. And sometimes, if I have like a long break in between sessions, I'll just run over to Mama's house and grab some fruit snacks or whatever she's cooked up. And I think I'll be out of town this weekend. Otherwise I'll be going over there to watch the Super Bowl. And yeah.
You spent time applying your trade in Nashville. Can you talk about that?
In Nashville, you said? Yeah. So I went down to Nashville when I was 17, originally to study at Fisk University and just kind of build my music knowledge. I went down there to study guitar and get my degree in guitar performance, Bachelor of Arts, which I ended up completing, which I wouldn't do again. Not because of Fisk or not because of Nashville or anything like that, but what I got from a Bachelor of Arts, I could have also gotten from just taking guitar lessons, and save myself a
lot of money.
Yeah. So, but what I got from college and being in Nashville, I would absolutely do over again.
The networking, the people that you met.
Absolutely. The opportunities I got myself into, the things that I learned about, life and being in a college setting, are irreplaceable. So I'm very glad that I did that, made that choice. But if I had just moved to Nashville and lived near campus and took some guitar lessons, I'd probably been in the same situation. So, when I was in Nashville, kind of learning how to be a guitar player, I never wanted to start a career path that I knew I would never be passionate about and I would never want to continue. So I never got into anything like that. So my main thing was, let me try to learn how to make money doing what I love doing while it's safe for me to make mistakes and to not be able to, and to not make money. It was okay for me to be broke. I wasn't paying rent. I was on campus, and things like that. So my expenses were super low. So I was able to, go out and play for free and, do that, or play for $10 or for lunch or whatever.
Beer.
Yeah. Well, not beer, cause I was young at the time. So, and also I didn't like beer yet, but, So I, I just took the time while I had the opportunity to make those mistakes and do the wrong thing for a while, to kind of hone my craft and kind of get better at not only guitar but also at engineering. Just recording with my friends in our dorm room or in my apartment when I finally moved off campus, and that got me into some really good positions. Where after I graduated college, I started working in live audio at a rehearsal studio called SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals, down there. And oh my God, it was just lightning bolts of acceleration in my skills because, like I said, it was a rehearsal studio, so I had 4 or 5 bands coming in, and I'm mixing their monitors or mixing their front of house audio 5 times a day. So I'm getting wildly different styles. I got a country band in one room. I got a rapper in the next room. I got a metal band in room 3 over here. And then I got somebody doing some kind of corporate presentation in room 4. So I'm getting wildly different things thrown at me all the time, and just learning to be diverse in my skills and just being able to adapt and be ready for everything and anything and everything. And so, it just rapidly accelerated my skills and my comfortability and all that kind of stuff. Nashville was a really good time for me. And I got a lot out of I think I got every ounce of what I could out of that experience down there. So grateful for it.
And then you were like, let me get out of here and go home.
It got really expensive in Nashville. Remember, I told you there was a time where I didn't have to worry about expenses.
That changed.
That time changed. So Nashville is becoming very quickly becoming a very expensive city to live in, much more expensive than Columbus. But I'm from here, and it was always home. And so I had some really great opportunities back home, and I felt like I was kind of missing out on what was happening in Columbus and the development of the music scene here. I want to be a part of it. Nashville has a fully developed, active music scene. I can't add.
Too developed, one might say.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing I can add to the music scene in Nashville that, is not already present and probably oversaturated down there. So, I really wanted the opportunity to build my own thing and kind of have my own impact on the world and the industry and my city and, all that kind of stuff in general. So brought it back home, took my talents to Columbus.
Took your talents to the Midwest.
Yeah. So.
All right. So the reason that I know who you are, because I'm not from Columbus, so not my fault. But we're gonna work on them. Get more promotion for Dreamcatchers. Yeah. Is because you work with Tino.
Yeah.
He's my favorite Dayton rapper. It's Tino. Oh. So if you ask Tino, he will tell you he is not the best rapper in Dayton because he is humble and not a jerk.
Such a crazy thing.
I mean, I don't know. I'm partial, so I probably shouldn't opine on that.
He probably wouldn't even put himself in the top 10, honestly. He is definitely, in the top 10 that I know of in Dayton. So he's not 10. But anyways.
And I would ask Tino this, but he's not here. You're here. So how did you start working with him? How did that happen?
So I don't know how the original his original connection to the studio was, but it was the early days of our studio, and he was one of the first people to come in and kind of get into recording a project. And so he recorded it with another engineer here. And, so I was curious. I was like, I wonder how it turned out. I want to see who this person is and kind of how his music is going. And I checked it out, and it was just, it was bad. We made a mistake. We didn't give the quality that I knew that we could give. So I texted or DM'd or whatever, Tino, and I reached out to him and I said, hey, I just was checking out the stuff from your session. I really don't like how it turned out. I don't know how you feel about it, but I know that we can do a lot better for you. At the time, I didn't know he was living in Dayton, so I didn't know how much of an inconvenience it would be for him. But, he was really kind of pleasantly surprised by our quality control, I guess. And so he was like, man, I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I wasn't, I was kind of questioning how everything kind of came out. I wasn't sure if that was if I was tripping or if, it was just, whatever. So he was like, yeah, I'd love to come back and work it out. And so he came back and we did another session. Stuff sounded great. I think that session turned into his last drop, I believe, which was Never Worried About Tomorrow.
That just came out.
It just came out.
He's been sitting on that for a while.
This was 2019 that we recorded this. So I maybe don't quote me on that, but I think that's what that session turned out to be. Obviously, we refined it and kept working on it. But So and then from that moment when that first time that Tino and I worked together, it was just magic. We really enjoyed each other's company and just enjoyed the music that he was making and what I contributed to it. And we just kind of kept going from there.
That's cool. And you have a lot of experience in this business, especially having lived in an industry town. So you know very well that word of mouth is a very important thing in the music industry.
Oh, yeah.
And I was specifically looking for a black engineer for my current project. And I thought, let me see about Tino's guy.
Yeah.
And I will tell you got a good review. And I didn't go to Yelp. I talked to the man and asked a couple questions.
Yeah.
And something I like about the way you have your website set up is you will take a time and do an hour consult with somebody before they even come in here. And that went a long way to giving me the confidence to want to bring this project to you. So keep doing that.
Oh,
and if you people out there that run studios, I know that your time is valuable, but doing like just an hour chat with someone can go a long way to getting you more business. So what did we do today? We don't want to tell everything that we did today, but I did write a blog post about the I Am Experienced DP. So why don't you talk about what we did today a little bit? And if you get too into detail, I'll stop you.
Okay. Yeah. So we're in the middle of tracking right now, and just making sure that we are. I guess we're kind of in the quality control. We're not quite at quality control yet, but we're just getting making sure all of our ideas are fleshed out fully, and that we have all the right ingredients to what we're working on. I think that we are just floating by and things are going swimmingly.
Yeah.
as your friend would say. I can't remember her name right now, but so we're just in the middle of getting everything down and making sure everything sounds the best way that it possibly can before we head into polishing things up, I guess.
You played a lot of guitar today.
I did play a lot of guitar.
And a good loud volume.
I play a lot of guitar every day, honestly.
Even when you're not tracking it, you just
it's fun for me. I love doing it. So yeah.
So I don't mind saying this. I won't say much more about the song, but I have a punk song on the EP, like a punk/dance song. How often do people bring you punk songs these days?
Not that often. It's definitely one of the less common genres that come into the studio, for no particular reason.
Punk-ish. It's got other influences,
right? But for no particular reason. I'm happy and I love working on punk. Punk was a big influence of my personal musical taste. I still listen to a lot of punk, but it doesn't come around that much. I'd love for it to come around more, but like I said, I play guitar on a lot of records very often, and a lot of times when people ask me to add guitar to things, it's usually a pretty overdriven sound. They want like a guitar solo, or they want some power chords, or something like that, stuff that came to me through punk. So
yep. We also did some work for my other project, We Met in Paris, which you also played guitar on, and not remotely overdriven on that.
Give me a name of the song.
Oh, you play that lovely little clean solo with the beautiful tone on Moving On.
Yes. Okay, absolutely. There we go. I didn't know that the project was called that, but yes.
Oh, you know what? Shame on me for not telling you that.
That's a really nice song, really fun song to work on. The Queen tone, I like that.
I said clean, but we'll call
clean.
it. We'll call it the Queen tone
we'll
too.
The Queen tone. I like.
Ruth's
tone.
kind of the boss, right? So
yeah, God save the Queen. But that song was a lot of fun as well. Just kind of working across the pond like that, and just kind of filling up the song and transforming it from the demo to what it's become has been a lot of fun.
It must be cool to come to work every day and make music.
It is extremely cool. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that last night, how they were asking me if I was burnt out, and I was like, no, I'm really not burnt out. I do the same thing every day, but I do it in such a wildly different way, every day. It's like if you drive to work every morning, but you take, you let's say you work at a rental car company, you get to try out a new car every day. You know what I mean? That'd be pretty cool. I think. I don't know. That's the best analogy I can come up with at the current moment. But it's really cool. What I get to do. I'm very fortunate that I'm in the position that I'm in, and I really enjoy it.
All right, so something else I hired you for is I have this single coming out. I hope I post this podcast episode before it's out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the promotion bit and just hope that I get this episode up before the date. But Hold the Wick single is out on my website and on Bandcamp on March 4th.
Has been. It will be, or has been out on March
15th on your regular streaming platforms. I guess alphabetically that starts with Amazon and ends with YouTube. Zune? Okay. Right. But there's a whole bunch of them in between. Like there's one that starts with an S, and there's a T, and there's a P in there, and there's a D, and my idea for that project was to have a whole bunch of people take the stems. That's the little pieces that make up the song when your recording guy records it, for you non-music types out there. And
that was an excellent breakdown.
Thank you. And remix them or rearrange all the music such that the song comes out differently. And Rizo here, you did one of those mixes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to drop the mix into the track now.
Hold the wick, light it up with me, touch the surfaces you doused with gasoline. Hold the wick, brandish it by day, grip it tighter when the wax is dripped away. Capillary action pulls you higher, so hold the wick, stare into the flame, steel yourself for what it takes to play the game. Hold the wick, wave it all around, gloating over the lives you burn to the ground. Capillary action pulls you higher, so hold the wick. Hold the wick, you will get yours too. So hold the wick, hold the wick, hold the wick, hold the wick, hold the wick.
So you listeners have just heard the Rizo remix of Hold the Wick, and there's also a really cool music video for that coming. I don't know when it's going to be out, but
It is very cool.
I showed it to Rizo. He liked it.
I can vouch.
The very talented Brandon Barry and used his visionary craziness and directed the video. But we're not talking to him today. We're talking to Rizo. So I want Rizo, why don't you explain the approach you took to that remix? Because everybody did it differently. So I want to have you explain how you approached that particular job.
Well, so the key thing for me, because I know that you said that before you kind of gave me the actual file, you told me that there were many people kind of coming up with their own versions of this. So the most important thing to me was to not let anything, anybody's version kind of influence my version. So the first thing that I did, and this is very, very unusual for me, is I listened to just your vocals because I knew that that was going to be my main, that was going to be my base for the song, you know. So I didn't want to hear anything else. I didn't listen to the official version. I didn't I don't even think I looked at the lyrics or anything like that. I just listened to gesture vocal as it came to me, no effects or anything like that. And then just whatever the first thing that came to my mind, melody wise, bass line wise, riff wise, whatever came to me, I was like, I had my guitar in my hand. I was like, I'm just gonna start playing. So that's exactly what I did. And you know, we just heard the song, so it's a pretty pretty heavy rock based, you know, kind of tone and kind of sound. And
it sounded like Nirvana to me.
Yeah.
I was not expecting a Nirvana sound out of you.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I had no idea what to expect, honestly. And so that's just what came to me, you know. And so I recorded, I believe, the guitar line first, the chords and stuff first. And then once I had that down, I think I went back and like when I say down, I mean like I recorded multiple instances of the guitar. I got my effects figured out and the full tone, like the guitar was done. And once I had that down, then I went back and just to see what you had landed on with your band and everything, just to make sure I hadn't done the same thing pretty much.
Oh, and you didn't.
So yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised. So I was like, okay, did he go the same tempo, or did he, am I in the right key at least, and all that kind of
You
stuff.
did not play it in the same key that I wrote the song in.
Right, yeah. So,
which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was like, I have no outside influence coming into the key or anything like that. Like I said, I didn't look at the chord chart. I didn't look at the lyrics or anything like that. So I didn't even know what key you had written it in. Yeah. And so once I figured out that, and I didn't even listen. Once I did finally listen to your version, I didn't even listen to the whole thing. I think I listened to like 15 seconds of it or whatever, just to see where you landed. And once I realized I hadn't done the same thing, it was kind of off to the races. I kind of took off on it, so just went crazy, added everything and anything that felt right. So
it's pretty cool, and in fact, I like it so much that when I play it live now, I want to play it your way.
Yeah,
which is problematic because the guitarist I've been working with, I told him, hey, this is how I want to play it. And I sent him the chord chart. But instead of reading the chord chart, he listened to your version.
Yeah.
I don't know what's with you guitar people
like
and listening to stuff like by ear, right? But I'm like, I sent you the chord. So like our first rehearsal, we're playing it and it sounds like it's not even... I'm like, what crazy chords are those? Those are not the chords I sent you. He's like, well, that's what's in the recording. I'm like, because I didn't realize at the time that you had completely changed the music.
Yeah.
And he's like, So we put on the recording, and I'm like, well, I'm playing along to your version. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I wrote. I mean, it works.
Yeah.
But I didn't even notice it. So like the first time I noticed that you had changed the key and everything around was trying to rehearse us with a guitarist, and it just wasn't working.
That's funny. So you had like the opposite,
yeah,
the opposite intake of what I did.
Yeah. So basically, I told her, all right, so we're gonna play it at Rizo's tempo and feel, but use my chord chart.
Nice.
So that's basically
blended them together.
We're gonna play it more or less your way until I get tired of it and go back to the original. But we
got options now. Yeah,
options are nice to have.
That's cool, man. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, so for all you people that are listening, on March 15th, there will be, or is, or has been, all of the Hold the Wick single and the 7 remixes along with it. Each one is in a different genre. All right, so you also played me. Are we allowed to talk about that gentleman whose song you played me?
Nah.
No, I can't talk about that?
So. We can talk about it, but I don't want to identify it. Yeah.
All right. All right, John Doe has a project on your computer that I thought was really good. Talk about as much as you're allowed to say about it.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's very similar to the process that you have brought to me, where he already this gentleman, he's not a musician. He just vocalists are musicians.
Hey, you sound like a musician to me.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that. Vocalists are musicians, but
no, it's the drummers that are not musicians or so.
No comment.
Now, I have drummer friends. They're gonna all laugh at that joke.
I'm laughing at it too, so that's my only comment on it. Anyways, he doesn't play any instruments other than the voice. But so he already has these songs written, and kind of has some musical ideas in his head. He kind of plays, sings to a tempo and things like that. So very similar to how you brought it to me, but usually you already have a bass line written when you bring me a song. At least a bass line, I should say. But he has less than that. So sometimes he'll just have a musical idea. And so he brought me this song, and he's singing it. I'm like, man, this feels nice and funky. This feels like, I don't know, some OJs or some Stevie or, something like that. And so, I just kind of went for it, kind of the same way I went for Hold the Wick. And when people bring me songs like that, it's always kind of almost a negotiation a little bit. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna add this over here, and then you let me know if you're okay with that, and then you tell me what you want, and then I'll let you know if I'm okay with that, that kind of stuff. And so we kind of went around that process, and I keep adding and adding and adding. He's like, oh yeah, that's good, and then we just kind of landed on what we have now, and it's still a work in progress. And so I'll go to him and I'll say, I think we should add this, I think we should take out this, I think we should move this part here and there, and so it's pretty similar to how we work, you and I.
It's great, and I just wish other people to hear it someday. It's really good. It made me want to jump up and dance.
Yeah,
and I just knocked the mic out of the boom because I'm clumsy, which is that's not every song that makes me want to jump up and dance.
Yeah. That's the goal, though. I want you to feel something. I want it to do something to you.
Regardless of genre.
Right.
This
exactly.
is an important point to
Absolutely.
make. As a professional, you record stuff in all kind of genres, but at the end of the day, well, I should let you say this. This is like your good hire me marketing pitch. Someone hires you to do the job to engineer, produce their record, regardless of genre. What do you want your client to feel when they leave the studio first?
I want them to feel that they got more than they thought they were going to get when they came in. I want them to be more than satisfied, above and beyond what they expected. And usually that's the result. Sometimes people come in and they've kind of read reviews, or they've heard from somebody, kind of what we do here and what goes on. But just in today's age of the internet and things like that, it's hard to trust things, So people come in with kind of muted expectations, like, okay, I've heard this guy's good, but he's not that good. He'll be all right. I'm expecting to walk out of here not upset. And so sometimes people have low expectations, sometimes people have high expectations, but regardless, like, I want to walk out of here satisfied with what I created, because if I'm satisfied, hopefully you'll be satisfied as well, and usually above satisfied, more than satisfied. So I want people to be happy with what they've created. I want people's visions to be realized, but also enhanced, and bring the best out of what you bring to me, So if you come to me and you have no ideas whatsoever, I'm going to give you an idea and try to find an idea and try to, land on something that, we both agree on that sounds good. Or if you do bring me an idea, I'm going to, do what I can to make that idea as best as possible. Or if you bring me a full song, we're going to, all right, well, try this note, try that, this rhythm, all that kind of stuff, and make sure that it's the best that it possibly can be. That's my entire goal with making music. And, because I've been doing it since before it was, since before I was charging for it, and that's always been my goal, is just to have fun, make the best music I can, and have something that I can enjoy on the ride home,
That is cool. So. All right. So let's go beyond the client gets home. So we'll go farther into the future now.
Okay.
The record is out. It's on shelves or streaming. Someone picks up a CD. Let's say someone in a CD shopping because they're old like me and they still buy CDs. And they pick up several CDs that are different genres, but they all say engineered and produced by Rizo at Dreamcatchers, Reynoldsburg, Ohio, on the CD. Regardless of what kind of music it is, and then again, this is way beyond the client has left your studio forever ago and there's been other stuff happening. Mm-hmm. What should all of those records have in common?
Ooh, that's a great question. To the average consumer, what are they gonna?
Yeah, to try to explain where I'm going with this, like in the business, there's certain producers or engineers that are known for a certain sound, mm-hmm. or a certain quality to their work, and you can kind of hear some of that across genres, mm-hmm. because they have certain tendencies, right? So is there something like that for Rizo at Dreamcatchers? I go pick up a rap record, a funk record, or a gospel record that you've produced and engineered, is there something that different kind of music,
Right.
but something that, you know what? Yeah, Rizo made all these, and I can tell because.
Right. Well, the thing is, I tried to, as much as I can, it's really impossible, but I tried to hide my identity on the music that I create for other people, because it is our song, our music that we're working on, but it's not my song, you know what I mean? So I don't want it to feel like Rizo made this song, you know what I mean? I want it to feel like, oh, this is a nice song. I really like how this turned out. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel sad. It makes me feel happy. It makes me feel angry, whatever it is. It makes me feel. So I try to hide that as much as I can, but my influences are always going to kind of poke through in certain spots. So kind of what I've realized is in certain genres, I have a certain sound, so when I'm working on a rap record, it's going to sound like, oh, Rizo made this beat, or Rizo helped with these vocals or something like that. I'm working on an R&B record. It's like, okay, this sounds like another R&B record that I heard from Rizo, but it doesn't sound like that rap record over there. Or like when I'm working on a rock record, it's definitely, you might not even know, like, wait, Rizo made both of these songs? You know what I mean? So even records on this project that we're working on are, wildly different, very, very different, very, very different genres, and things like that. And if you didn't know better, it might be hard to tell that the same group of people worked on this music. And that's always my goal. Every song I look at it with a fresh face, and I don't try to repeat my ideas. And like I said with the Hold the Wick remix, it's every single time it's a different thing. So something new, I think, would be something that you're going to see as consistent in all the music I work on. Is something new, something you haven't heard from me before.
That's a good answer. All right, so this next question is a tribute to Gem City Podcast, which is now no longer with us, and Terry Izzy Rock Martin, who used to ask this to all of his musical guests. And I'm borrowing it because I'm going to assume no one's ever asked you this. And I told him, he's like, you should just go ahead and use it. I said, no, that's your shtick. I can't use it on every guest. And I definitely can't use it on any Dayton guests. But you're not a Dayton guy, so I can ask you this. Rizo, what did your childhood smell like?
Oh, okay.
Love you, Terry.
Oh, man. What a question. Huh. Nickel. Smelled like nickel.
Elaborate.
It smelled like nickel because that's what guitar strings are made out of.
Nice.
I vividly remember the smell of nickel from I'm always rubbing my eyes. I have a eye condition that makes my eyes itchy. But so I'm also always playing guitar. And so I have almost a constant smell of nickel around my face just from the nickel alloy is what guitar strings are made out of. So constantly I have just, I'm always rubbing my eyes and getting nickel in my eyes and under my nose and things like that. And I've been playing guitar for so long. I can tell you very specifically and very quickly what my childhood did not smell like.
Go.
And this is not musically related at all, but that's peanut butter. And we were kind of chatting about this earlier.
We did, but these people didn't hear it,
Yeah,
so please go.
I have several siblings who early in my childhood were deathly allergic to peanuts and tree nuts and all that yummy, delicious stuff. And so it was basically a biological agent in my house, so you weren't allowed to bring it in. I couldn't have a Snickers bar, and I couldn't, kiss my sister on the cheek because she would break out in hives in that spot. So, I stayed as far away from peanuts and tree nuts as possible. So
no Reese's peanut butter cups.
No, it hurt.
No
it
Buckeyes.
And it hurt because my sister is younger. She was the one that had it the worst, but she's younger than me. So I had already been introduced and become familiar with all these
with the deliciousness, yeah.
Peanut butter based things and tree nut based things, and then suddenly I could no longer enjoy them until I moved out of that house into my own world. So
that's good. And again, nod to Gem City Podcast for that question. So, one more question. no names. This is going to be anonymous. All right.
Gotcha.
Let's say that there's a person that you admire and respect as a human being, but also for their talent as an artist. Highest respect. And one day you find out that they pour a boatload of sugar on their grits before consuming them.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
No names.
Right.
What would you say to this person to help them? I don't want to say come to Jesus because it's not that serious, but help them correct their ways.
I would say you're dead wrong. There's better out there. And it can be yours. It doesn't have to be this way.
It really doesn't.
It really doesn't. I would say that grits are a base for other items. Grits are not oatmeal. You wouldn't, I wouldn't put fruit in my grits. I wouldn't have blueberry grits,
Not just you.
I wouldn't have apple cinnamon grits.
No sane individual.
But I'm
Yeah.
But what I would have shrimp in my grits. I would have.
I mean, you live in the South, so you get it.
I would have greens in my grits. I would eat my grits with eggs.
Possibly cheese.
Yep, absolutely cheese.
Butter, bacon.
Butter, all that, yes. Sausage, kielbasa, yes.
But granulated sugar of the sort that comes in a box.
You are ruining your grits if you're putting sugar on your grits.
This has been a public service announcement. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now. I just felt that was important to get out to the community.
The person who needs to hear that will hear that.
Good.
He knows who he is.
I said, we don't even know what we should have
You
even said,
know.
Senator. You know who you are.
Yes, you know.
That's just being too obvious. All right, so we're going to end this. I'm going to give Rizo, you get the last word because I'm in your room. This is the pitch part, right? We want to convince people, especially people in Columbus who make music, or even people outside of Columbus. Like I drove from, Dayton to come here. There are a lot of engineers in our state. There are a lot of great engineers in our state who can make you a good record. Why should someone choose to make their record with a Rizo at Dreamcatchers? Let's hear the big.
Here's the thing. I hate selling myself.
You have to, though. I'm telling you that for this, you have to.
Hold on.
Okay.
I hate selling myself. And the number one reason is because I hate being sold to. I hate feeling like when you walk out of the store with something like, oh, I don't even want this. Like, why did I spend $200 on this? I walked in for, a basketball. You know what I mean? Why did I walk out with a rim, So in opening my own business, regardless if it's a studio or not, there's a lot of things about this world that I don't like, I don't agree with, I don't want to see, and so I personally take it upon myself to be that change that I want in the world. First things first, one of the biggest things for me is if you go and try to find a recording studio to record your music at, you're going to naturally have several questions. One of the biggest one is going to be, what is your price? How much does it cost to record here? Can I even afford to have this conversation with you right now? And so a lot of people will get deep into the process of getting to know somebody, finding out if the studio is right for them, only to find out that the studio costs $250 an hour, because they work with Walmart and, Sunkist or whatever. So one of the first things for me, it was like, I'm going to put that front and center. It's very easy to find our prices. It's listed, right on our Google page. You click on our website, it's one of the first things that you see, because I don't want to hide that from people. I hate that it's difficult to find that information, and so I don't want you to feel like you've gone through you've looked at my whole website, you've gone through all my pages and seen my client list and my pictures of my studio, and then you find out the price. I don't want to sell to you. I don't want to convince you to come to my studio. And I know that might sound wrong as a business owner. I don't want to convince you to buy my product or whatever. I want you to convince yourself, to come here. I want you to feel like you're making a good choice because you made that choice, not because I told you that you're making a good choice, So, as in, you and I had a consultation long ago before we started working on this project. And, we just sat down and talked for a while, and you played me some of your music and I told you what I thought about it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I still thoroughly do. And I told you, what we do here at the studio, but I told you the answers to what you asked. I didn't, hopefully you would agree, I didn't sell you on coming to our studio.
You did not.
Right. You already basically had made the decision to come to the studio, and having that conversation with me is what kind of sealed the deal. And so that's how I like things to operate. I want you to come and get to know me, come to see how the studio is and things like that, and then see if it's a good fit for you. If it's not, that is okay. I am all right with that. As you said, there are so many good engineers out here. I want you to make good music, and I want your music to come out as good as it possibly can. That won't always be with me. There are limitations to our studio. Our studio is a certain size. I have my own personal availability. There's things I can't do. There's things I can do really well. So my studio isn't going to be the right fit for everybody. And I want you to go to the studio that works for you. I want you to go to the business that works best for you. I don't want you to walk out of here saying, I can't believe I spent that much money there. I want you to walk out saying that was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Couldn't have said it. I don't think you could have said it any better. Thank you for joining me for the podcast and for being my engineer on this project and for being an all-around cool dude, Rizo.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Yeah, this project is so much fun. I can't wait till everybody hears it. / I'm so glad everybody's listening to it right now. / everybody loved it. It was so great. Right on.
Thank you again to Rizo for talking to me for this episode and for remixing Hold the Wick. As we mentioned, it's available right now, Friday, March 4th, both on my website and on my Bandcamp page. Now, if this was a regular episode where I wasn't releasing music, this would be the point where I would say thank you, dear listener, for listening to the You Could Be My Aramis podcast. And I'll still say that. Thank you, dear listener, for listening today. But instead of asking you to perhaps subscribe to this podcast on the platform of your choice, I'm going to ask you, please go listen to my new single, Hold the Wick, all 8 versions of it. You can listen for free as many times as you want on my website, MikeBankheadmusic.com. You can listen for free on my Bandcamp page. If you like the single, why not buy it? For just a few dollars, you can get a digital download of the single, high-quality files that you can listen to anytime you like. Also, you might have noticed that Rizo and I talked about a music video. Every version of Hold the Wick comes with a music video. The one for Rizo's remix is out on April 28th, but the first one, the music video for the original mix, is coming your way on March 15th, and I can't wait for you to see it. In the meantime, please listen to my new single and have a lovely day.